Welcome everybody to this episode of the Mecca Minutes. It is your source of information about the fractional leadership marketplace for all manner of C-suite. And speaking of C-suites, I have an entire C-suite of Spinakr here with me today, and we're going to be talking about how they looked at the fractional leadership space, and also about just the clients that they deal with and their needs that are sort of becoming more and more popular these days with companies between the 50 and 500 million, all the way up to $1 billion revenue. Couple of housekeeping items. If you recall, the last time we were together, I mentioned we were going to have a charity all-star game for the Scottish Rite Hospital for Children. I'm proud to report that we brought $40,000 in already. And of course, the donation site is still open and money continues to come in. And I can't tell how much the sponsors and all the folks that we got involved with this year, as well as the families and the friends of the North Texas Amateur Baseball League. If you want to donate, go out to ntabl.com/donate. That's it. Put in an amount. Of course, I play for the 60 and over Orioles. So if you want to earmark it that I'm the guy that you heard about this from, that'd be great. But there's really nothing to that. This hospital gets all the money, goes directly to them, and you get a full tax deductible receipt in the email the moment after it comes. Nobody's touching that money except the hospital. And they basically take care of kids with orthopedic and certain neurological conditions at no cost if they can't afford to pay for it. And it's a passion project for me, and I hope maybe you get by the hospital and become a passion project for you. With me, I have the CEO, the COO, and the CFO, the triumvirate, the three men or three wives of people. I guess we have to go call men these days. Well, actually, that's a three. You can say men, but it's like two men and a woman. And I'll let them introduce themselves rather than get into botching their names or missing out on their proper full titles, and maybe let Matt tell us a little bit about the company and how it got to be here, and we'll go from there. So Matt, who the heck are you and what do you do?
Well, who am I? What am I doing, and why am I here? Well, I'm here because you asked me to be.
Thanks, Matt.
You and I go way back. Part of this team goes way back with you as well.
Yes, I don't even want to admit that. Way too long.
I see the things that you've invested in. The tribute to Scottish Rite is something that's incredibly just impactful. So congrats on that, by the way.
I appreciate it. Well, it's easy when your brother was a patient and then your son's a patient. But I have to admit, even when I got over to the hospital, which you all need to do, take a tour of that place and your check finger starts itching, trust me.
Well, so culturally, I think values are something that are important. Relationships are something that are important. The tenure of this team and our team and what we are doing is all for purpose. So me, I call myself the chief tackling dummy. Sometimes you got to do all kinds of things, right? So, but I've spent my time and my day and my profession in and around marketing and technology. I like to say I grew up as a middle child and I took a job as a professional one. So
that's great. I feel that.
Bringing two organizations together that don't typically talk to each other. So in terms of our abilities and what we do as an organization, I've got a leadership team that we've put together that is now spread across the world. So Brad here out of our Dallas office and Aaron out of our UK office. But we get the opportunity to engage with clients in lots of different ways and do lots of different things. But we're staying straight in the suite of things that we know we can do. So my job, remove barriers. Open opportunities for the team to actually come in and do what they can do for the clients that we service all over the world. So
you give me the Spinakr does this. Help the audience know. I always thought of you as a custom software shop, but then I used you to save the day with Salesforce. I used you to help me just get through decisions. To me, it's always good to have a partner like that, but seeing how the company's gone from then to now, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so Gerry, first off, I don't want to make it a Scottish Rite commercial, but with my daughter there, you when you walk in the door, it's not just the popcorn, right? It's the whole entire experience that you have that. So
I have nothing to do with building it that way. That is the vision of the Masons and the Scottish Rite Mason groups, and I appreciate that, and I'm sure they do too.
And if you get a chance, go to the gift shop and get the socks, because they're the best thing. But yeah, at Spinakr, we're a 10-year-old firm, and our whole entire approach is just to provide a business consulting overlay on technology and marketing. So like you said, it's when clients say, hey, can you help me? Or what one of our mantras is how can we help? What do you need? You needed some contract review. You needed some things. Back in the day at CA, you needed to automate your Dr. Pepper bottling initiative. So the entire approach is around how can we help? And I get an opportunity looking after our global accounts, operations, and the like, to be able to say, how can we help? So when we moved into the UK, it's taking that message to those clients saying, yes, you were using us this way, but we have the opportunity to serve you in this way. Are you interested? So just that approach of how can we help? Is there a problem? Are you not getting served in an area? We may or may not be able to help you, but we certainly know a guy or gal. Right? We certainly know somebody.
There we go.
Who
try to be good.
Who can help you with that, and that we trust because we've vetted our partners and the folks that we engage with. So what do? We focus on the management consulting side of the business to deliver marketing solutions, everything from as simple as SEO all the way up to strategy and 3D design. And then the technology side, as you mentioned, we do have custom development. We do application development. We do application support.
Hey, we label people. It's not intentional. It's just a moment in time. And that was the problem that was being worked on. But now I appreciate the re-education, and I'm sure folks who are wanting to know what Spinakr's all about, that's helpful.
Well, as we've grown, we've had the opportunity to go through different stage gates. And I think in your topic here about fractional leadership, being able to bring some intellectual capital to the table at certain times during that journey, enter Aaron.
Yeah, so I'm the new kid on the block. I've been part of this team and on this field for only the last 5 years. And as Matt said, I started here in the United States, and that's where we really built the foundation of this team and our opportunity to springboard into a global market. And then upon the acquisition of Brandworks in the UK, I had the opportunity to move over to the United Kingdom and be that face and voice for the executive team over there. But my journey with Spinakr began as a fractional leader myself. And there was that tipping point that you mentioned, or the stage gate that Matt spoke about, where it was a growth spurt for the company, and going from very much founder-managed company to now needing a leadership team to take different parts of the organization to the next level. And that's when Matt and I met, and I had a specific set of skills, if you like, that Matt was looking for in the finance space, and came in playing a very much a fractional role, and it grew from there. So
now it's HR, it's obviously still finance.
Yeah, so obviously finance and legal and administration, and then yes, HR coming in as well.
And even more importantly, risk. So Aaron mentioned Brandworks. So Brandworks is a London-based organization that's been in place for 25 years with a global set of clientele, managing brands through this age of AI that we're in. So that's a disruptive topic right now.
How did y'all connect?
In 2015, Spinakr became the exclusive reseller and implementation partner for Brandworks for the Americas. That started a relationship, and since then, we've grown the Brandworks book of business to probably 50% of the global network in the U.S., with a huge opportunity to continue to expand that SaaS platform. And with content creation at an all-time high, AI is...
This studio is the content creation machinery.
This is a perfect example of content being delivered and created. our global set of clientele expects us to be the parent in the room and help them manage. How do I actually embrace this? How do I take this movement and do something responsible with it? How is this the best representation of ourselves? So the Spinakr business that we've created is the people you've known for us to do both marketing types of projects and technology types of projects, put some process and
how were they ever separated anyway?
And now bring them into a workflow process, a review process, a validation process that this does match what we say we want to be and how we want to present ourselves to the rest of the world. So in terms of governance and compliance and risk management, the BrandWorks product serves as a particular product or function, but you have to have the personnel that go along with it to help guide people through this transition, because this is a disruptive moment right now.
It is. Think about so I encountered this as I left the corporate world, left Tropicana, hung my own shingle, immediately got dropped into a $400 million company that was looking for a CIO. Then they bought a $500 million company and became a $1 billion company. But throughout that time, if early on I had gone to the CEO of the company, who I'd become a trusted advisor, and said, oh, we need risk and we need, HR and we need, he looked at me and said, I need infrastructure. My damn network doesn't work. I'm getting ransomware attacks. I would have been, so this is where I used to fight it. I wanted to be a CIO forever. And not everybody, all large corporations are foolish if they don't have a tech czar. Call them an EIEIO. I use that all the time just because I think this whole, the CIO world got sideways. So many people wanted to be CIOs, and the Peter Principle came in a big manner. Everybody wanted to be a CIO, and you got to, 40-50% of the market's got a CIO, can't spell CIO. That's really being mean. But I've met them. I know that they have potential and they could one day be a CIO, but they never hired or fired anybody. They never went through a RIF. They never did and you try to explain how that is critical for you being in the position to even leading a company that's more than a few $1 million. So go ahead.
And even now, as you think about the different things that are involved and stuff that your audience is actually really has to handle at this point, as an organization grows, there's now new risk and compliance rules that have to actually be complied with, and it's not standardized just across the globe.
It's certainly not across the globe. So you can get closer and closer,
and it's shifting. It's constantly shifting.
Sure. So the need to be able to embrace intellectual capital and bring intellectual capital to the table that helps you now take things to the next level. We've got to think about our growth. We've got to think about, as an organization, as we continue to grow, what kind of skills and resources do we need to be able to actually take this on? We can't expect that we're going to know everything, but we know that you probably have experience, or you have something.
Or if you look at this evolution of your company, so Aaron, you came in as a fractional. If now you do, because I just heard you say it, we've now sort of laid out the full gamut of the needs that you would have. But when you go consult with a company who only has 30% of them, going in there and telling about all the stuff is great, except you just give them a roadmap to get there. But in the meantime, you need a 30% person.
Well, and I think you said it. It's regardless of what the books say, it's different for every firm.
It is.
In the maturation cycle that they're in, where they are, and so you have to get to where they are and help them get over that next hump.
So I'm sold. I literally have gone completely from, how can you not have a CIO? And then there's all sorts of other objectives. Like they have a really superstar director who's got skills, but has not had the pain and anguish. And you can bring them along.
Yeah.
And so that's more of an interim.
Sure.
But they're not the same. People think interim and fractional are the same thing. Fractional for me was, I had a client I could do 5 hours to, a client I could do 10 hours to. So if I wanted to put in 25 hours a week, not 40, because I was done with that. Yet the billables were about the same.
Well, you can pick and choose.
Yeah. And if you want to take a vacation, I'm doing 10 next month. And if as long as I make a phone call and, or keep on top of a project or do the steering committees or whatever it is that they need, it's not just I'm milking them for billable dollars. I'm giving them value when I'm there, and when I'm not there, they may call me and say, hey, we need you for 5 more hours. And if I got the capacity, I could jump in. Well, and I say I'm not doing this anymore. I'm facilitating this discussion for corporations to know this exists. There's a lot of companies out there. I see stuff on TikTok. Yes, I look at TikTok every day. Like, have you ever thought about a fractional, and it's somebody who's also realized the value of it, but they're just doing the same thing. Resume gathering from a bunch of poor schmucks who want to one day be of value. And what we have right now is a glut of 50 plus CIO, CEO, CFO, CMO, COOs who've been exited by the latest riff of cost-cutting measures out there. And there are these smaller companies being promoted as being the future for America and globally that could be available to you at a fraction of the cost and all the value. So, okay, that's the end of my speech.
Well, so, and I think really one of the things that we kind of build our business on is relationship and trust.
Sure.
And as that,
you guys all had people first in your bios. I think that's awesome.
And that's cultural. Yeah. Because if, as a people first type of organization, trust is earned, it's not granted. Most executives have too many friends anyway.
Yeah.
So as a network, where that fraction comes in is, hey, did you know that these guys could probably help with that? Hey, did you know that this actually exists? So that ability to actually now leverage some of those things, even if it is just on a fractional engagement, now leads to us being able to actually come in and contribute and make a difference in the lives of many. So
I got to give you another one, Aaron. I'm sorry. When you were not full-time, not how fun, that's not the right word. How did you like the power of being able to say your baby's ugly and not worry about being fired because you weren't working for them?
Yeah, she still enjoys that.
Well, I say that because that's the other thing. It's like the secret sauce of fractional is you don't care to you're not rude.
Yeah.
But you could be honest with little or no repercussions other than you might have to get a new client next month because that guy doesn't like you anymore.
I mean, some of the reasons why I started a fractional, in this case, financial leadership, small business for myself is because the clients that I worked with did not get into business to do their books.
That's right.
They got into business to do something that they're passionate about and that they wanted to do to make a difference in the world. I happen to like numbers. No judgment. It's okay. I like spreadsheets and I like numbers. So, that is something that I enjoy doing. I could come in and do what I enjoy for them. It gave them lift. It gave them time and space to go do what they're passionate about. And that was the great feedback for me. Not just the paycheck, but that opportunity to then see that company and that leader have the opportunity to thrive where they want to, because I could come in and do what I did for them. And so that was why I got into that. And yes, I think in finance, there is an opportunity to be that pragmatist.
Yeah.
And to say the bathwater's cold, the baby's ugly, whether you're fractional or not. But yes, obviously there's that little bit.
It probably goes operationally.
Yeah, that. We still play that role, and Matt and Brad joke about that. But at the end of the day, it is also one thing that contributes to the strength of our leadership, because there's that voice at the table who's willing to be World War Z, being the 12th person saying no every time.
I want to just say that I agree. And with the size of your company, which I know you want to be meteoric with your growth, so let's just hope, and I wish that for you. But in corporate America, there's still so many people who are afraid to tell the emperor's clothes are ugly or whatever. And to your point, too many leaders have too many friends. A great percentage of the companies that I've worked for, that CEO doesn't still have a fair business separation between that friendship and that leader that they brought in. It becomes ridiculous. Like you go to meetings and you just want to go, oh my God, why don't they just hug and kiss? Because it's just nuts. But because and so I've reached this point where even They're called management consultants at McKinsey that will come in and tell you your baby's ugly and charge you $1 gazillion for it. Why not find somebody who's demonstrated a skill that has been repeatedly a winner, whether it's been in over 50 years of a career or not? We have 80-year-old presidents. Why in the world would a 50-year-old superstar not be viable for a $100 million company wanting to take the next step?
Well, and I think that's where we see the opportunity to engage in fractional is as we continue to reach these stage gates, what are we lacking?
Right. That's right.
And sometimes we don't know. And we don't know what we don't know. And bringing that person in with that knowledge and that background is able to expose that to us.
And it doesn't necessarily mean we have to hire McKinsey.
Right.
If we have this network of trusted individuals that have already been through that stage gate, gone from this level to that level to the next level to the next, what are the things we have to worry about?
And fractionals will not only tell you what the right thing to do is, they'll also be willing to actually do it. Now, this is really rare for me to hear so much from you and so much from you, and I haven't heard much at all from Brad, so I'm going to give Brad the floor. No, I'm going to tell you, I don't know of a conversation I've ever had where he's been the third speaker, so I'm going to go ahead and say, give me some ideas of how, what an operations-minded or a sales-minded fractional leader will come in and do.
Well, as we talked about a little bit, the risk of do you bring somebody on full time or do you ask somebody first? Our network is really driven around trust. The folks that we've worked with, we can call Gerry, we can call insert name here because we trust them. And with us, we feel like that trust not only supports us as an organization, but it supports our clients. So we have a need that's something that we don't necessarily do full time in our wheelhouse. We'll go grab folks that we know do that and serve that up to our clients. So we know it's a trusted partner, which means we're eliminating the risk for our clients. They come to us and say, hey, I know that you do Sitecore for us, but can you help us with,
you name it.
Power Builder, right?
Right.
Let's not do that one.
Okay. I'm just saying.
I just got a maybe for it back, but yeah.
So
there's not still Power Builder out there, is it?
It was an example.
Okay, I got you.
It was
a funny example.
I wanted to bring some of the more experienced crowd into the mix.
Just to let everybody know that I was before Power Builder.
Yes. So my point is we'll go get expertise, but trust where we can get in a room and say, hey, here's what we're thinking, because we desire that truth and honesty. We always run with integrity first. Tell us the truth. And we encourage our staff and our consultants that are serving clients under the Spinakr umbrella to say, look, we understand that you want to do this. Have you considered this? We've seen this movie before. Have you thought about this approach? We think that'll get you to the right result. So from an operations and sales perspective, it's that same clarity. It's the ability and the desire to be painfully obvious. Like this is gonna take this. We think this represents your project plan based on what we know. Yeah. Tell us why you think it's wrong. Help us work with it back and forth.
It feels like both of you own it, and it feels more
because you have to, because that's the only way you can map how you're going to get from here to there. There's going to be problems. There is going to be an element in a project that takes a left turn that you've got to just have that credibility and that relationship to say, hey, this went left. It's going to be this. Here's the change. How do you want to move forward together?
So remind me, I knew you at CA.
Dr. Pepper bottling.
Then what?
Then you went to Frito-Lay.
But I know what I did. Okay. Tell me what you did.
I thought you were just looking for...
No, I'm asking were you talking about trust and credibility?
Sure.
Give me some examples and then you're going to go next if you want to know. And we're then going to switch a little bit over to what I call Shrek. I'll tell you what that is if you don't already know. And then we'll let you tell us a little bit any of your social responsibility things you're doing with your people as far as charity work, because it's my thing.
So at CA, you met me fresh out of the Army.
Okay.
So serving intel for the U.S. And
thank you for your service. Yes, we have to say that. That's really super cool. And I never did that. My dad did, but I never did it. It's one of my regrets.
Certainly proud moment. But at the end of the day, you met me right after that. And that was where I was getting my legs underneath me from a full technology stack perspective. From CA, went to Oracle, Siebel. Then, of course, Larry came back and bought Siebel. Yeah. So went back to Oracle and then went to a boutique consulting firm, which consulting, for anybody who's ever been a part of that, consulting is a way different market than product.
That's right.
Product is a hammer. You walk around and you hit it, or you don't.
Or you shape the hammer to make it work.
Yeah, and so then went on to do what I was supposed to do, the big boy job. Go to work at GE, run North America and Europe.
How long were you at GE?
4 years.
Wow,
just
that's enough.
And
That's what I hear.
And it was amazing. No. It was like getting an MBA in business. It was the way they run that organization. So certainly a stalwart in the U.S. So going from there, learned quickly that pace was not wired for me. Went to a startup with one of my mentors. Right about the exact same time, Matt said, "Okay, I'm gonna start
up this.
I'm gonna start spinning.
I'm gonna spin up something.
I'm gonna spin something up."
Couldn't help myself.
So whenever he said, "You gotta come," I said, "No, I gotta finish this." Spun off that cybersecurity company, and then came to Spinakr to actually take all that experience. Now I will say there was a point where Matt and I met about 25 years ago at Siebel, taking our solution to market. So we knew each other then. Back to that trusted network. Go to people who their positives and their negatives.
Yep.
You know their potholes and their hills, right? So knowing what you're working with really opens up that discussion point. So that's me to hear. And
no, it's great, Erin. So
I grew up, born, raised Australia. I'm Australian through and through.
Never get. Do you say nar?
Nar.
Like nar?
My accent has really softened over
so wrong.
I've visited a lot of places, but yes, it does come out very strong at times. Normally in Scotland during the rugby, but
when she's unhappy about something.
When I type in all capital letters, it sounds very strong.
I had a CIO from Scotland, and she used to say med. She couldn't say the R at the end of murder. Come on, Christine, say murder. Okay, continue. Sorry.
I did what all Australians in their 20s do after they graduate from university, and I traveled. So I went over to the United Kingdom, and I lived there for a couple of years, and dabbled in various things to figure out what I wanted to do. Ended up in the United States and worked in tourism and hospitality for a long time.
Wow.
Which was something that really was really exciting to me at the time. And I mean, talk about I didn't want to do that for my life. As soon as I became a mother, I realized that was a terrible industry to be in. So I left that and went and worked for a boutique consulting firm. And their primary business was around helping companies through change, manage and lead through change, which was really very interesting and exciting topic for me. Once I realized I really was liking the finance space, I had majored in business at school. So by now I've dabbled in all sorts of different parts of business, and finance was really where I felt comfortable. I worked for a couple of boutique companies. I worked in manufacturing. I worked in NGO, professional services, and construction. So I saw a lot of different industries and how a lot of different financial models work, and learned all of the lingo and bits and pieces that make small companies become medium companies and medium become large. And that was the stepping stone really for me, was to grow into that. And then I met Matt during COVID. And so
some good things came out of COVID.
It really did. And my beginning with the company was all virtual, which works really well when you're in finance. And I'm curious to know whether or not Matt ever thought that I was going to become a full-time employee, because in the early days, our relationship was very much about, I just need this work done. That's and right. Can you come in on a fractional basis and do that? And all of a sudden, I think that freedom of his time to go and concentrate on what he was supposed to be doing was as a CEO and founder and entrepreneur. But then as you grow, as you mentioned, you reach those stage gates where now it's about risk. It's not just about, payroll and invoicing and AP. Now there's risk. Now there are other topics. Yes. And, oops, Erin can do those as well.
Yeah.
And
I don't have to burden ourselves with that.
But I got to tell you, for both of these guys, for me, I mean, I used to say that the day I got to delete the accounting inbox was the most liberating day of my professional life. But I knew I had the opportunity to actually now hand it over to somebody that was trusted. that can handle it. And as we continue to grow and scale, I think it's really important for us to know where our limitations are, because as it does grow, we take on more and more and more, but we can't take it all on.
Yeah.
We've got to be able to rely on intellectual capital that we can bring to the table, and sometimes that's not going to be a full-time role.
Now, I love calling it intellectual capital myself. I think that's exactly what it is. Not that just because you've been in a job for years, you have to have some kind of sort of IQ test or whatever the intellectual part is to know that the person who's sitting before you isn't just, mirroring some speech he saw.
Or capable of actually going out and doing the hard work or the research to be able to actually bring answers forward.
Yeah.
I think that's as important as actually having the experience itself, but having somebody you can rely on and trust to be able to actually put them on the field.
So we're right now in that space that I called it my Shrek space. Shrek, for those of you who aren't HR people, is Spencer Stewart, Heydrich and Struggles, Russell Reynolds, Egan Zender, and Korn Ferry, the first letters of their names. I think they're missing this whole market. They're busy trying to place full-time CX level positions and other positions at companies, and they're talking it, but they're not doing it. And I say that not because I think that or I wonder that. I am a fractional. I spent 2 years promoting fractional. I'm pretty good at LinkedIn and pretty good at getting my name out there. That's where the EKG group, everybody knows Gerry, came from. And yet only one phone call from Korn Ferry to investigate this subject. What ended up being like a 4-month interview process, and then the customer went in a different direction. Now, what I actually found out was they wanted to sell a full-time employee. They didn't want to sell the fractional stuff. So I'm calling BS on the Shrekers. They need to change their focus because, like I said, there is a glut of talent that know this space. Intellectual capital, I'll call it that. Thoughts. I mean, I don't want you to alienate the next
They're
drop.
all they're all reputable firms. They've all proven themselves.
Sure.
The industry as a whole, I believe, is changing.
Sure it is.
And things are going at a dramatically different pace than they have in the past. And I think we're going to have to see companies evolve and take different approaches.
Start companies that are going to take the business from them. That's what happens.
A lot of our projects are actually, shorter term types of things and rapid fire, but that creates opportunity for us as an executive team to now say, how else can we help? And that's that part of that relationship. Some of those projects are going to be not necessarily just driven through the BrandWorks product or another big management consulting technology development thing or agency marketing type of project, but they may be driven from a network of people that we can put together and say, what's the idea that we have? What do we actually want to take advantage of now? And that may come from having a fractional come in and moderate. Start something, build a strategy, talk to and help map out a path. Doesn't necessarily have to be a full-time employee doing that, but it has to be somebody that can take the ball and lead teams through what this is evolving into.
I should know this. So you guys, I'm sure if this isn't something you want to talk about, are you debt-free, fully organic? Do you have?
But we have
how do you finance?
We've taken an investment round.
Yep.
Actually, in the middle of doing some strategic financial.
To the extent that you were to talk about it, I didn't mean to.
Been working hard on making sure that we're putting the right strategies in place to secure a solid financial future for us. But we've taken a minimal investment.
Good.
But
Minimal is good. Sorry, you were about to say something about.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say customers are at a certain point.
Yeah.
So I think it really varies. They're either they've already proven like when you're there that it was time for somebody to handle that piece.
Yes.
But in the meantime, we have to meet them where they are. So what we find working with the fractionals is we're the hands and feet that come in with the fractional person to help them, because the organization is still trying to figure out what to staff, when to call and get a full-time staff. So not only do they need a fractional lots of times for strategy, they need a fractional or a consultant base that can come in and help them that's not an FTE, that doesn't have the issues with RIF and fire and hire. They can say, here's your 60-day notice.
That's right. And a lot of our clients are actually on hiring freezes. And they actually can't go out.
So they're literally not hiring FTEs. They're literally calling us to staff positions for them, long-term positions that are from a consultant perspective. So we think clients are all in a different spot.
You just have to figure out what that is.
And you just got to ask. So,
Gerry, I also think, bringing the HR perspective forward, you're
I was expecting you would.
You're talking about the glut of, those of us in our 50s now in this space, but let's talk about sustainability for companies, right? The workforce coming behind us is a fractional workforce. It's the gig economy workforce, and we can say whatever we want our work.
We can deny.
Which we won't. But the simple fact is they work differently. They perform differently, and the way that they show up is different. It doesn't make them better, worse, the same. It just is different. And so if companies want to be sustainable, they're going to have to think about a different workforce in the future. Because, the die-hard, full-time, die on the vine is going to die on the vine, and that's going to happen quite soon. And your workforce coming up underneath is a fractional workforce. And if you don't embrace that, your company is going to be left behind.
And I think the manufacturing space actually learned that the hard way. When our parents stopped going to the mill, stopped going to the place, and they learned that they had to staff differently, or they had to fulfill differently. And I think there's a lot of industries that had the growth that needed full-time employees all the time. And they had a little fiefdom. I'm a manager, I'm a director, that I want to have the most staff on the group and have the biggest payroll in the group. And today that's just not, it just doesn't fit. So coming to them from our perspective, how can we help mitigate your list? How can we put a blended team on the field to help you with your staff and provide the extra set of hands?
The blend word just triggered another thought. And so I set up shop at Norma's. I have my coffee. People come in and do my one-on-one.
Specifically the one on the 75.
Well, sometimes it's not close to them. So as long as there's a Norma's in your town. Sorry, shameless plug for Norma's Cafe. But I have met, I got to say, 100 in transition leaders. And, I pushed back when they said it was, age discrimination. I pushed back when they said they're looking just for women from Asia or whatever, because that's who got the job that they didn't get. And that's kind of when I realized, and this is kind of a little accusatory, but the value in some cases for a Shrek is that the company doesn't have to say, I'm killing a DEI requirement here. I need you to bring me this. And no matter how many talented people you put in front of them, through their applicant tracking, they're filtering out until they get a bevy of folks that, and somebody also told me this, I forget her name, great lady. Sorry that I bet she deserves a plug here. Maybe I'll figure out a way to drop it in later. But look, they aren't going to take a chance. That's their big money makers. So they're going to give them what they want.
That's right.
To the extent that they will ever stick their neck out and say, you really need Susie Q. She's great. They're going to say, yeah, but Susie Q, this, and this, and my client wants this, and this. I'm sorry. And you can't deny that. And so I don't want to sound like I've used Korn Ferry. I've used the whole Shrek crew, and they're great. So I agree. We need to figure out some way to evolve to support this fractional market, whatever you want to call it, the new way. And really, I have to sort of say we're going to have to wrap this up because I'm starting to think we've gotten way in. Tell me about anything that you're doing, corporate social responsibility. What's your charity of choice?
Well, actually, it's evolved.
Okay. Well, sure, always.
And changed.
Yeah,
over
people
time.
change that for sure.
So we've actually even gone through and implemented a volunteer time off policy.
Good.
I think last year we had probably 5-6 different global organizations that we contributed to.
And how do we pick this?
We asked the staff. Yeah, actually, volunteer first was to stand behind some of the things that they truly cared about. We've done everything from Brother Bill's Helping Hands here in town to Night Owls, which is a program where families with kids with disabilities can drop their kids off so they can have a
night out.
A night out.
That's awesome. We need that. Not that I have kids with disabilities, but that is definitely needed.
A night out is needed whether they have disabilities.
That's right. Fair enough. In fact, I wish I did a little bit more of that. I wouldn't be on my third. Well, not my third, but shopping. Sorry, I'm embarrassing myself.
For us, I think just as an organization, we've embraced just a means of being able to listen to our global clientele and have them help us be able to understand what can we get behind, what's actually meaningful to our employees, and then get behind them, push them uphill.
And I think it's also important to say that not only do we go to our staff and employees, which to us are the most valuable commodity we have, it's going to them and saying, what do you think, and letting them present. But we also hear from clients who come to us and say, I'm doing this, will you participate with it? So we're a big provider with United Way, with one of our local clients. And so we like to step into the ring with our clients to do the same thing, to give
That's the right thing to do. I mean, for years I sold to Mobile and Campbell Soup, and I went to the same gas station. I get loyal, but at the same time, that's not social responsibility. I still dig it that you can have an event, or Boys and Girls Clubs and United Way. They're great organizations. Scottish Rite, of course.
Well, we believe that the give back is not just from giving honest feedback and saying the right thing and owning it if something goes wrong, right? Taking responsibility for something that happened, doing what we say we're going to do. But it's also putting your money and your time where your mouth is to give back to the community, because without the community, we don't really have any way to thrive.
That's for sure.
Well, we even just today just approved T-shirts for a volunteer.
You did.
An in-person event at the end of this month.
Well, let me know what that is, and maybe so. Last but not least, how can people get in touch with you if they thought what you were talking about sounds interesting?
Well,
we have a CEO/CFO community for the most part.
Our doors are always open. Our offices here down in Dallas are down in the West End. Brad,
you're right down here.
Yeah, we're right around the corner here. So, Spinakr.com, Spinakr. .com.
Oh yeah, AKR. Throw them off.
I
think it's important to pause and you explain this, where the Spinakr name came from.
Okay, so when I left corporate America, I went out to White Rock Lake and bought a boat that was hardly floating. I rebuilt a 1960 Bristol Corinthian sailboat.
How long?
20 foot.
Yeah, that's nice. You could live on it.
Yeah, it had a cabin and an 800-pound keel at the bottom of it. So,
dang.
Weeble wobbles wobble, but they don't fall down. There's a throwback. But I rebuilt that thing in my driveway, and I rigged it with a Spinakr.
I got you.
And if you're familiar with White Rock, you know that they race on Sundays.
Yep.
I was one of the only guys that would fly a Spinakr and race out there with a Spinakr. But it's the one out front.
Yep.
One's usually most colorful.
Yep.
That's a very technical sail. So you got to steer it with which way the wind blows. I loved the synergies behind what marketing and technology services were.
So cool. What a great name. So it makes even more sense. I thought EKG for Everybody Knows Gerry was like the brilliant.
They're both true.
That's the only credit I really give my ex-wife is that name. So, all right. Well, with that, I really want to thank you guys for coming in. This is my first C-Suite. I don't know that I'll do another one. Generally, I usually bring in somebody who has been like Aaron, somebody who's been a CFO, somebody who's now looking, and talk about their experience, give them a chance to pump up what they're doing. And I hope that this certainly was worthwhile to you. It was worthwhile to me and validating. and also thought-provoking. And I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for joining me.
Here you go.
Thanks, Gerry.
And that's been your Mecca Minutes. And I'm Gerry Mecca with the EKG Group and Scottish Rite Hospital for Children.